And we are back. Welcome back to From the Table. This is episode 5. We are here with what my brother likes to call the PA, Pastor Amanda. Welcome. welcome to the episode.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you.
Welcome to the table.
Do you respond to that publicly?
I love it.
People say,
when I
hey,
learn
PA, you're like, I know they're talking about me.
I'm learning
Yeah.
it. I'm learning
Yeah.
it, and I love it. I love it. I think
It really
it's
is a good,
hilarious.
PAC.
Yeah, pack. I thought about that one too. I was
Welcome to the
thinking about this.
pack.
I was literally thinking about how to do this intro, and I was like, I don't know if I say PA or pack. It's like one of the two.
Well, because, Christ. I mean, Pastor Amanda Crice.
yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I just had a revelation that PAC works.
Yeah, PAC.
It
Yeah.
does,
Yeah. Pretty much.
Well, for those listening, welcome to another conversation from the table. Today is all about Pastor Amanda.
Yeah.
And finding out, what does she do here? What is she doing? Why is she here? And a lot of other things. A lot of other things that if you don't know yet this wonderful person, hopefully you'll learn a bit more in this podcast. So we're going to start with a game. It's called Rapid Fire Questions. You might have seen it on a TV show or another podcast or even on your social media. So feel free to use these with your friends, relatives, spouses, whoever. But we're going to list off a bunch of questions, 10 questions, and most are not serious. And so our hope is that Pastor Amanda is able to respond quickly with whatever comes to her mind.
This is going to be good.
Hence the game, Rapid Fire.
I'm so nervous.
So Amanda, when we go to these, just whatever comes in, okay?
Okay.
All right, and we'll censor if we need to, okay? All right, okay. So let's add some music to this in editing. And we'll make it even more intense, more fire.
Yeah.
More fire.
Yeah.
More fire.
More like a game show kind of.
That's right. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Here we go. What is your go-to snack?
Anything with peanut butter.
Dream destination to live.
Oregon coast.
Ooh.
Okay. If you had a pet porcupine, what would its name be?
Okay, well, it would probably be something like Porky or Spike, but then
Porky.
I would have like several different names.
Yeah.
Like that played out like P-Man or Spikester
Paxter.
or yeah.
Ooh, Spikester.
Yeah, because
Okay.
our cats have 7 or 8 different names.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. How is God 3 in 1?
It's the mystery. Just appreciate the mystery.
Appreciate the mystery. I
Appreciate
like
the
it.
mystery.
And if God is 3 in 1, does God use teleportation? And if so, is that something that we can pray for?
You are free to pray for whatever you're led to pray for. Just I wouldn't hold your breath.
You heard it here, folks.
Yep.
What is the silliest mistake that you ever made?
Well, it's probably hitting my face on this microphone.
Yeah, she
like-
has hit it about 3 times. I haven't heard it. You might have heard it. So if you're hearing
Yeah.
thumps, that's from Pac.
Yeah.
What's your favorite musical artist to listen to?
Brandy Carlisle.
What's your go-to binge watch show?
It depends. We've been watching Friends. That's
Rerunning Friends.
Yeah, rerunning Friends.
Literally at
Yeah.
my house all the time.
Yeah,
Favorite color?
blue.
Do you think Jack Frost is as bad as he is in the movie Santa Claus 3? What do you think?
I haven't seen the movie Santa Claus.
What?
3.
Good
I know.
Are
you
I'm
kidding?
Stop
sorry.
the podcast.
Are
I'm
you
so
kidding?
sorry.
All right,
I'm
intermission.
sorry.
We got to watch 1, 2, and 3.
I
I've
gotta
seen
watch all of
one.
them.
That's the one with Tim Allen, right? The
Yes.
first one.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
That is Justin's favorite Christmas movie, or one of them, because
Lightyear.
I would agree. That's my in
Oh,
terms
yeah.
of like a series of movies following a
That
theme
was,
in
that
Christmas.
was really good.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Caden, do you have a favorite?
Not really. I mean, I always think the first one is the best movie, though.
I agree.
Mhm.
And that
Yeah.
I agree.
with that series, it's like they're all good.
Right,
And
because you're
just
always
as
learning
good.
the
Yeah.
story and
Mhm.
characters and who
Yeah.
they are, what's their personalities. Yeah.
Well, you're making me want to watch it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really good.
It's really good. And what's his name? He played on SNL in the 80s. Martin Short
Mm.
is Jack Frost.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and so
Now,
he's
but
a,
he's not
he's
a
vi-
funny.
He's a
He-
villain.
he's a
like
villain,
a
pretty
dark
much, kind of
humor.
like. Yeah,
Yeah, but it's
Okay.
it's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
that's good.
So that one's I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
if
I'll tell you this. Just empathy, you know. He probably was hurt somewhere along the way.
Yes.
So he's
Yeah.
probably not as
Yeah.
bad
Yeah.
as you just
Yeah.
gotta, hurt people hurt people.
Yep.
Wow.
That's how, I mean,
Look at you.
We just watched Cruella. Have you seen
yeah.
Cruella?
Oh, yeah.
The new one,
Yeah, and I love it because it's like,
Um,
you understand where she came from.
Yeah.
This is why.
Emma.
Emma Stone.
Is
that
it
her name?
Emma Stone? Is that Emma Stone?
I don't know. She's a popular actress.
Yeah.
It was a good movie.
Yeah. Okay. Final question. Like the song from Creedence
CCR.
Revival or CCR. Have you ever seen the rain?
I saw it big time on Saturday. So much rain.
So much rain.
All the
There
rain.
was a lot of rain.
And
All right.
yeah.
That concludes our segment, Rapid Fire.
Yippee.
Woo!
That was
Did I do
interesting.
okay? Woo,
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
stressful.
that was good.
Stressful.
Excellent.
Woo.
Pastor Amanda, tell us about yourself for those who don't know you. Just kind of give a rundown, basically.
What just
Man.
comes to mind
Yeah.
from
Oh
that?
man.
For the people who don't know.
Yeah, they used to do those like acrostic poems where you like try to find a word for each letter of your name. I can't do that, but
Oh, I
like,
hate
that's a
doing
fun
that.
way
I
to-
swear.
Yeah, I don't know. So I am a pastor. It
Yes.
was
Yes.
in retrospect, I could see how God was doing that from a young age because when I was in kindergarten, I do have memories of running around the playground saying, "He's alive! He's alive!" like reenacting the Easter scene. And I would love to like see that from my teacher's perspective.
Yeah.
Or like
What did that look like? Yeah.
yeah,
Coming from
yeah.
a teacher.
So yeah, I think I've always been really excited about my faith, and that has grown and evolved over the years. I've matured in my faith and learned different things. I came from a place that didn't really affirm that women could be a pastor, so it's sort of exciting to be in this role now.
Did you have a moment where you're like, I feel completely aware of what I'm supposed to do?
I think it was a series of moments. It unfolded, and
Well, that's a
that-
Methodist
it-
answer.
Yeah.
yeah, and I think God kind of moves
Yeah.
at the pace we're able to move,
Yeah.
and so it did unfold for me. And I certainly had some years where I ran away from it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just always been a part of who I am, and I also am a firm believer though that you are not what you do.
Absolutely.
So I
Right.
think that I'm learning that as well, and so I am like it is me and of my essence to be a pastor, to be somebody who looks for God in all things and sees the work of the Spirit in the world. But I also really like to have fun, and I think those two things work together.
Yeah.
So
And what are those things?
about having fun. Is that
Yeah.
what are those things? Well, I love to travel. I love to
Oh,
do
yeah.
photography. I love
Oh,
to
yeah.
run. Running to me is like a really great life metaphor because it's one of those sports where you're always rooting for everybody that you do it with.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know?
Yeah.
And I used to say when in a season of life, I did a lot of races, and there was just nothing more energizing than being at the start line at 7 a.m. surrounded
Yeah.
by neon spandex and,
Yeah.
and a lot of
Yeah.
good energy.
Yeah.
Everybody's just excited to be there, and you're just like you're rooting for yourself and you're rooting for everybody
Yeah.
else, and it's just a really good metaphor for life. I think that we're all in this together, and we all go at our own pace, and we encourage one another, and it makes you get excited when you lift other people up. And
It does feel like the running
Yeah.
community
Yeah.
has this
Yeah.
sense of, I don't even have to know you. If you're in this with me, we're already
Yeah,
immediately
yeah.
bonded,
Yep. Yep.
in a way that it can be harder in other things.
Yep.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
just like an immediacy of, I'm hoping you reach what you want, or
Yeah.
you finish the way
Yeah.
you want, or,
Yeah.
you know,
And running was the first thing in my life that taught me I could do hard things
yeah.
because I was
Yeah.
not a natural. I mean, if
Yeah.
I'm 5'4",
Yeah.
I'm
Uh-huh.
I'm not built lean like a runner.
Sure.
So it's not a gift, but I had a coach that believed in me in high school, and I ended up doing things in high school I didn't physically think I was capable of doing. And
Yeah.
so that was such a good life lesson of, you can do hard things.
Yeah.
You can find the discipline and the routine and make it happen.
I would
So,
say the same. Like my coach for
Yeah.
baseball, I didn't know I could do things, or you feel like it doesn't have to be sports, but you feel like you know your own ceiling,
Yeah.
and then someone, and it always is like a mentor or a coach that just tells you, no, I know that's not it. I know
Yeah.
you can do more than that. And then when you just commit to like, okay, well, I'll try.
Well, and you
Yeah.
did that this year with golf.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did.
Right?
Yeah, I did do
Completely
that.
new.
Yeah, completely new.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I first played it April or something like that.
Yeah.
I remember Masters Sunday when the Masters was on. That's the first
Really?
time I went golf.
Oh my gosh.
That's the first time
That's
I went.
awesome.
That's amazing.
And I was just obviously I didn't play well that day. I was like
Oh, sure.
just new.
Yeah.
Obviously, Dad was like, "Yeah, I'll go get my clubs and
Yeah.
you can go with these guys," because he was originally gonna take me
Yeah.
like years and years ago. It just
Yeah.
never happened. And then
Yeah.
these friends over at Greenfield, they asked me like, "Hey, you want to go golf?" And because we were actually gonna play baseball that day, but then it was like kind of wet outside. I think at like Sharon.
Yeah.
And so we went to Fulton to play, and it was just from there. It just
You just got
completely
hooked.
Took off.
yeah. And I didn't I didn't know I could do that at all. Like I
Yeah.
joined the golf team. I played. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hitting 50, like average of
Mhm.
50, 52 or something like that. So, that was shocking to me,
Yeah. And
especially for my first year.
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That's a really good score
Yeah.
too, especially the average.
Yeah. For people who don't know golf, the lowest score obviously is a
Right.
better score.
Right.
Like
right, yeah.
You
it's
wanna
not-
be
it's Not,
negative.
it's not like it's not like basketball where you get scores like 80 to like
Right.
50. If you get an 80 in golf, that's not good.
No.
I-
Right.
That's
Right.
that's not good. But like so
Yeah.
it's I was just I was proud of myself. I was shocked with myself more than anything.
and it's more of like an individual sport.
Yeah,
Uh,
pretty much.
but it doesn't have like running does have that tie to community
Yeah,
so
yeah.
easily, and golf does.
Yeah.
Especially when you go in groups.
Yeah.
But you can get almost every fulfillment even by yourself that you can in running. Obviously without the sense of community around you, but you're working on more like finite or like little
Yeah,
fine skills
Yeah.
than running. You might have a certain gait you want to run,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
focusing on, but then it's like there's so many more specific things I feel like in golf that you're paying attention to. the
Yeah,
way your
you're, like,
elbow
paying
moves
attention,
or your
yeah.
hip went or
Well, it's like that famous saying, it's the journey, not the destination.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's a process
Yeah,
of getting.
and that's always the most exciting part. Is,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
the journey of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Kadin, many people have the opposite reaction to
yeah,
you.
yeah.
They go out and they go, I'm terrible at this.
Yeah.
Therefore,
down.
I'm terrible.
Yeah.
And I'll never. And which, if you have a passion, you see it differently. You're like, oh, look at all the other ways I could get better.
Yeah.
Or
I always,
I could
always
see
do that when I
myself.
go by myself. I'm always like, oh,
Yeah.
why didn't I do this better? And,
Yeah.
Or after it, and it's like 9:00 at night, and I'm like, man, I could have done
Yeah.
this and this better,
That's
and it would have
awesome.
been a different
Yeah.
reaction.
Those
It
are
would've
the
been
things that you
completely
want to
different.
get. Like
Yeah.
everyone wants to have those
Yeah.
things, and that's
Yeah.
a cool thing to have. For
But
sure.
it goes back to what she said. I mean, gosh, I forgot what she said. Dang it.
Journey, not the
Yeah,
destination.
Journey, not the destination.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep.
But yeah, so I mean,
Yeah.
and you don't know what you can do until you do it, and then
You
you
honor
realize you
yourself.
do it, and
Yep.
then you
gotta
went
step
over
out a
that.
little bit.
Yeah, step out.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So, but anyway, so obviously, we do stuff and we don't know we could do it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
explain a little bit how you got here and how this just became your job basically.
Yeah. So, speaking of just things you kind of offer yourself to, and then you see where it'll go. So like I said, I kind of always had this spark in me that was very passionate about my faith and took very seriously what God was doing in my life. But when I went to college, I just started to have some disassociation with like some of the stuff I was raised to understand and then what I was experiencing of God. And so I kind of took a little bit of a break in college from church for a little while. And then my third year, I was dating a boy, and he was a part of the Methodist church in the town where I went to school.
Did you have any prior experience outside of the denomination you grew up in?
Okay, well,
in
here's a full circle moment. Speaking about the running, the only Methodist I ever knew growing up was my cross country coach.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
He was Methodist.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know a thing about the Methodist church.
Yeah.
It was just a weird church.
Yeah.
It was in
Yeah. I got you.
It was a pretty
Yeah.
small church I grew up in a really small rural
Mhm.
town,
Yeah.
and it was a small church, and Coach Lee was the Methodist in town, and his brother was my pastor at one point at the Baptist
Oh,
church.
really?
So, yeah, it was
Oh,
just
okay.
different.
Wow.
Wow.
So anyway, though, so in college, I'm dating this guy. He's Methodist, so I start going to church with him, and then they get this new associate pastor who's a woman, and I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
That's amazing. And she's trying to rebuild campus ministry, college ministry in that community because it's a college town, and so she gathers some folks, to try to talk about like what's needed and stuff. And she just, I'm always gonna owe so much to her because in the conversations with her, she was somebody that could see gifts that I had, and it's just like a good coach,
Right.
brought them out in me. And I just think that those people in our lives are such a gift, like the people
Absolutely.
who see who we
Yeah.
are, who see our gifts, and who try to encourage those gifts. And so
Yeah.
I don't even really remember how it happened. I just, all of a sudden, I was in leadership in this new ministry she was building. I was discipleship chair. So she asked me to do Bible studies, think about retreats, help her plan worships, that kind of thing. So I did that for my last couple years of college, and I got really interested in this idea of being called to ministry, but I was graduating, and I was engaged to the guy that I was dating, and I had a teaching job, and so I just kind of put that in the back of my mind and thought I'll be a good church member, but I've got a different life plan or whatever. But she had seminary stuff like up in the hallway, and I remember just being like, that's kind of interesting, interesting. But no, I taught school for a little while. I loved it. I loved teaching school. I taught 7th grade reading. It was a blast. Then my 3rd year teaching, I started teaching math, and that was awful.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
my.
so bad. I like math, okay? Like
Yeah.
and I
Personally is
Yeah,
Yeah, like
personally.
I can learn it.
yeah, but like teaching it, it was
Yep.
just this terrible feeling of not being enough because I taught a range, so I had from remedial math to like advanced math and everything in between, and I couldn't understand how to help my kids who struggled with it.
Oh.
And all the kids in the advanced math were smarter than me. Like they
Oh,
were
yeah.
7th graders, and they were like seeing things I couldn't see in the math. So I could not win. But I think God works in funny ways because it was the year I was teaching math that I got a call just out of the blue one January from the pastor of the church I was attending, and he was like, "You're going to be our new youth pastor. So I need you to be the youth pastor."
Is
I was
that
like,
how he phrased it? I
I-
need you to do that.
Yeah,
Well,
I just-
he was one of those people that sort of told you what you were going to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
I mean, he was kind about it. But
Yeah.
anyway, long story short, I finished the year teaching and moved into youth ministry. Did that for 4 years. Loved it. Grew a lot. Learned a lot. Walked through a messy divorce. It wasn't that messy, but I mean, walked through a divorce while I was doing that. And I have to tell that part of the story because it was walking through that and seeing the way the church navigated that with us that just was this overwhelming sense of like how wonderful God is and how great the grace of God can work through the church because they loved both of us. Like neither
Right,
one of
right.
us felt like we had to be excommunicated from that
Right.
church after what we were walking through. And it was just a really like sometimes those lowest moments in our lives are like the moments when we can see God just so clearly. And so this woman was a deaconess at the church. Her name was Doris. And she walked into my office one day. I was working on the church directory, which is exciting work.
Yeah. Very.
And she was bringing me some pictures, and she just looked at me and she said, "Okay, so when you go into seminary?" And I'd never uttered that to anybody really, but definitely not to her. And I just like jaw hit the ground. I was like, "Okay, God." So I was like, "Okay, I'm going to surrender to this." So I started looking at schools. I ended up choosing Candler School of Theology, which is in Atlanta at Emory University, and that was huge to like move from my little small college town to Atlanta.
Whole
Yeah,
different
yeah,
environment.
Yeah. But it was such a great experience. And anyway, I worked at a church there too. Got totally different environment. I learned a lot about like different perspectives, and just the world is a lot bigger than my little corner of it, which was really good for me to understand that. And so in that process, I had my ideas about what I wanted to do. I was so touched by my own college ministry experience that I really wanted to be placed into a campus ministry. I wanted to minister to college students because it was so formative for me. But there's this thing about when you put yourself in the process, is that it's a surrender to God. Like you're supposed to, like it's not about like, okay, Bishop, you're going to put me here. This is going to be my job. You say, I'll go where you send me. It's like that passage in Isaiah. I'll go where you send me. And so I started the process to become an elder, which was letting go of all control of where I'd be sent. But I did have a conversation with the bishop, and he came to the school. He'll make his rounds at the different seminaries, and he came, and we had this one-on-one conversation. And there was actually a job in Memphis. Funny story. The guy who called me and said, "You're going to be my youth director," he was a pastor in Memphis at the time. I was graduating from seminary. And he called me and he was like, "I need you to come be my associate pastor."
Wow. That's awesome.
And I was like, okay, but I feel really called to campus ministry. And so the bishop's saying, like, is there a moral reason that I shouldn't put you at this other church? And I was like, no, I'll go where you send me. I'll do what you want. But this, I'm just telling you, this is like where my heart is. And he's like, would you have heartburn if I sent you to Martin, Tennessee?
Oh,
Because I was living in Atlanta. I was used to the city life. And it's like going to be a rural area. It's like, no, I think that would be fine. I would love to go to Martin because I went to school at Murray. I don't hate me, but I went to school at Murray. I love Murray State. I know you appreciate Murray.
Oh, yeah, I love Murray.
But so I knew Martin, and I was like, yeah, no, that'd be great. So that's how I got to Martin. That was a long answer, sorry, but
that's good.
That's how I got to Martin, Tennessee, and I served at the Wesley Foundation for 4 years, until this summer.
Yeah, until this summer. Until this summer.
That's 5 years. I came in 2016.
We came in
2021.
So I thought I wanted to like work there for 20 years. I thought like, and like the whole story of all this is just a constant like humbling of like what I think I'm supposed to do and then what God shows me is needed.
Yeah.
And so I just really thought I'd stay at Wesley long term. Well, God started working on me in 2020. Like we had that moment of just pause, like where you have to sit with yourself. And in 2020, I just felt restless, and I knew that it was time for me to let go of something. And my DS started talking to me about like, like we need people to serve churches. And just asked me to start praying about it. And by December of 2020, I was able to honestly say to my DS, I'll go where you send me. And I mean it. Like I do whatever you think is what is needed for the good of the greater church, I'll go. And I'm like thinking she's asking about Justin's job and does it work in another state. And I was like pretty convinced we were going to go to Kentucky. Yeah. And so we had our mind around like moving. And then we get the call, in April, and it's like, will you serve Martin first? And I had to laugh. I was just like, it's so funny because I was so ready to go, and God wanted me to stay right here, but serve in this new role. And so anyway, that's just how the appointment process works. Like you offer yourself to the good of the whole church, and they take it really seriously. They, it's the DSs from everywhere in the conference. They pray about it. They sit. It's like I imagine it to be a lot like the draft.
Yeah.
In like baseball or football, you got like you have all the openings.
The big old board, and you got all
there
the
is
players.
a big board.
Oh yeah,
there is a board. I know this. I've not been in the room where it happens.
For those who have wondered.
Yeah. I do know there's a board, and they'll like move names around and stuff. And but I know it's all bathed in prayer, and they take it very, very seriously. And
it's a long time of conversations and decisions are made by many people.
They talk to the leadership in the churches. Each individual pastor has a meeting with their DS. All these factors are weighed in about what's going to be good. And I think I've never, don't get it wrong, this is a big job. It was a lot for me to move from the Wesley to this church. And I had a lot of feelings of inadequacy of like,
Yeah.
can I do this? Like, are you
Yeah.
sure?
Yeah.
You know, but
It's like that moment when you get into some kind of career role, and then you start asking in the beginning of it, "Where's the adult?"
yes,
That's-
yeah, I need an adultier
Oh my
adult.
God, that's me.
Yeah.
But I also have, while I know I need to grow and learn, and I have been growing and learning, I've also never had a moment where I thought I'm not supposed to be here since I've started. Like, and I told my DS this year, because we had our meeting this year, and I said I truly love the people of Martin First even more now than I did when I started, and I already did love the people of Martin
Right, yeah.
First. So
And there's a quote out there, and I can't remember who said it, but it's something along the lines of the proximity you are to something, the closer you are,
Yeah.
the closer you understand and appreciate and
love
and begin to love more. And then the farther away from it,
yeah.
more
It's like,
more confusion
Yeah.
and fear-based feelings come in.
Yeah.
So yeah, always feel like that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's something
yeah.
about, well, I mean, there is the line too, you can't hate up close.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh my
Yeah.
like when you
gosh.
get real,
Yeah.
because empathy, you get empathy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
only in the movie theater. Yeah. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. It does help. I mean, I do think that's why movies and stories and art are so important, because they do teach us those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
in the front row. I
Yeah.
can tell you
it was a
everything
fr-
about that movie.
yeah.
I can tell you everything. I had no distractions.
Oh, yeah. Nothing. Nothing was getting in my way.
So some of the you shared some of the process. So who is a DS?
Okay. Yeah. Good question.
Yes.
A DS is a district superintendent. So we are a part of a conference, and actually, as of the Saturday, as of January 1st, we became the Tennessee West Kentucky Conference. We were the Memphis Conference, and then there was a conference right next to us called the Tennessee Conference. Well, we shared the same bishop and had a lot of the same goals, and the bishop had been aligning our work together for several years now, along with a dedicated staff, and that we've been praying and thinking a lot about becoming one conference. And so that was voted into approval in December, and so now we are the Tennessee Western Kentucky Conference. So that's a pretty big area. It goes from like Paducah to Nashville, or Memphis, sorry, Paducah to Memphis, north and south, and then
That's crazy.
what is it, the Ohio River that's right there,
Yeah.
all the way to the Cumberland River, I
Yes.
believe. So we stretch all of Western Kentucky, Western Tennessee, and on into Middle Tennessee.
Wow.
So it's a huge geographic
Oh, yeah.
range. So we have one bishop that is sort of the pastor for that whole area. That sort of
Right.
he's our administrative point. He's the visionary for the ministry of this area. He's our he equips our mission outposts in this area, because that's the way that the United Methodist Church is designed. We're all the same church, but we have different missional outposts throughout
Right.
our whole area.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's all too much for one bishop. So the district superintendents each manage a district in that conference. So it's a smaller geographical area.
Yeah.
Now our district is the Mississippi River District. It's Brownsville to... I'm not good at geography,
Well,
so
I
I
was
can
gonna
see
say, in
it
terms of-
on a
Yeah,
map.
you
It's
see it
pretty
on the map and
big.
then-
In terms
Yeah.
of north, we would be at almost the
We're at the
we're
northern end of the
northern
district.
of it.
Yeah.
And I know Jackson is in the Tennessee River
is.
District, so it goes almost like to Medina.
Medina's in our district.
Yes, and
yeah.
then that's like the end point of like the southeastern portion of the district.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's still a pretty big
It's a pretty
geographic
good
area.
area.
It's so
But our
Yeah.
DS is the pastor for that area, and then she equips and empowers the individual pastors in their churches in the ministry for that. So she casts our vision for our area, and our DS is Reverend Cynthia Davis, who's awesome. Our bishop is Bishop Bill McLilly, who's also awesome. So we have some great leadership in our region.
And I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like every time we point to our leaders, like if we were to say, if we were to put your name on something, your name represented you and all the conversations and people that are part of leadership at this church, in the same way that if we were to put Bishop Bill McAlilly's name on something, it represents Bishop and all of the teams around him. The same way, Reverend Cynthia, same. From the district level.
Yeah. Well, and they do say the district superintendents are the liaison for the bishop. So, like, when the district superintendent speaks, they speak with the authority of the bishop.
Right.
Because that they've been sent
Right.
to do that. So,
Which again is like, and we've been talking, not on the podcast, but we did on the last episode with Real Foot Rural Ministries. We talked about the connectional aspect
yes.
of
yes.
like, no matter at what level you're at,
Yeah.
there's always a connecting piece to every level, so that we are hearing one another and trying to figure out what's our role
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the situation of whatever presents itself. So yeah, I thought of that because I know we always we as human beings want to put a contact to something,
Yeah.
and so it's good that we have a contact, but especially because we're connectional, the contact is representing a lot of contacts.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. We belong to one another.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is such a great theological concept. It's part of that same mystery of God being three in one.
Right.
We can be
Yeah.
our own
Yeah.
church,
There's
and we
always-
belong to a bigger church.
There's
and
never like a singular. There's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
one story where it's a singular person.
Yeah.
In the realm of some kind of a community of faith. It's always just sharing
Yeah.
Yeah.
with each other.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you kind of touched on this a little bit. Back in, I think April maybe, when they announced it here. Because, I was back there recording, and I didn't know. Brother Andy didn't know.
No. Well, he did the day before. But
Okay.
Yeah.
But did you, like, before Steve said that?
Yeah.
Did you know at all that you were going to be here?
I did. So they call the pastors and give them a heads up.
Okay.
Like a couple days before they announce it at the churches, but you're kind of sworn to secrecy. You
Yeah,
have
yeah,
to,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you can't say it
Yeah.
to anyone. So, and some of the church leadership knew because they were
right,
I mean,
'cause
like
they had to,
Yeah, they
yeah.
had to know. So, but not the whole church. You know, it was just a few folks in the church. So, I was called. They make the calls on Friday before
Wow.
announcement Sunday.
Wow.
But because this was such a different transition for me, like, Cynthia called me on Thursday as an act of love and grace. She just said, do you need to sit down and pray about this? Like,
Yeah.
okay, are you ready and willing to take this role? And because if not, we got to keep working on
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
So she did ask me on Thursday. So I still remember my gut reaction was to just start laughing, like, and then I was sitting at Wesley and I just started walking around campus and just and there were people in the building and I was like, the world stopped for a minute. But so I did know, and I'd had time to sort of process a little bit before.
So when you got that call, obviously you were laughing. I guess that kind of answered it, but like that was your initial reaction. You was just like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
So at Wesley, did you have to just what were you doing then and there when you got the call? Were you just sitting at home? Were you just at Wesley? Were you at?
Yeah, I was at Wesley,
Oh, wow.
and it was a work day. It was Thursday afternoon in April. So
Which would have been a worship day for y'all.
golly,
Would it have
On
been?
Thursday?
it wouldn't have
Or
been-
it's late in the semester, so maybe
well,
it
we
wasn't.
were doing. Remember, it was pandemic world, and
that's
so
right.
we were
Yeah.
doing. We didn't do
Yeah.
the typical Thursday night
Yeah.
worship that year.
Yeah.
So we were doing small groups probably that night. Yeah, I think that's what
God,
Thursday.
it feels so long ago
It was
that
so-
I can't
yeah.
even.
Yeah,
It
I
was such a
know. It's
weird
almost a
time.
year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like almost a year ago. That's nuts.
It is. It really is. But Wesley had a big Easter celebration planned the following Sunday. It was right after Easter Day, but Easter is a season, right? Like all the
Right,
things.
right.
And so we were doing an Easter celebration, and so the timing worked out that I was able to share it at Wesley, and the person who came to Wesley was my friend Sam, and so it was cool to share that too.
Yeah.
And it was,
Yeah.
so I mean, the laughter was I don't know, shock and fear.
Yeah.
And also there was some joy in there, and just a lot of different feelings I think came out as laughter. But I think for the most part, it was a positive. I felt
Yeah.
positive, about it. Scared out of my mind.
Right.
But
Right.
positive.
Mhm.
So.
How'd you feel on Brother Randy's last service? That was what?
Oh my gosh, that
June
was so
13th?
special. Yeah.
Like did you like what were your thoughts just like
Mm.
during the whole thing?
Golly, that was. Thanks for even just taking us back to that, because wasn't that such a great day?
Yeah, that
That
was
was a
really
really
good.
cool
That was a
day.
really good service.
It
I
Yeah.
did
really
feel
thought,
like, in a sense,
yeah.
that because Brother Randy,
Mhm.
the Coopers have committed to
They've
being
done so
here,
much
Mm-hmm.
and
for this church.
and
Mhm.
their intentions are to be here
Mhm.
after this kind of time of transitioning.
Yeah.
That it did feel like a passing of a baton.
Yeah.
That-
I was I don't know. It was just even counting down like the Sundays,
Mm.
because like that week before what was like the 6th or something. I was
Yeah.
like, man, this is the second to last time I'm ever gonna
Mhm.
hear this man speak on front
Yeah.
of the stage like that.
Yeah.
Well, I bet he'll be back. At
I
some.
bet he'll be back. Yeah.
I bet eventually
Yeah,
we might get
yeah,
him to
yeah.
preach again.
Yeah. It's like a
But-
substitute
But
kinda
it's
deal.
different, right?
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
totally different
Right.
Mm-hmm.
mentality.
Mhm.
It's totally different. And yeah, I think for both of us, I think when he comes back, y'all should have him on here and get his
Oh, yeah, we'll throw a big
his
cele-
thoughts
yeah.
on this.
Yeah, we'll
but
get him some
we
rapid
get him,
fires.
Yeah, we get him on the podcast.
I would
yeah.
love to see Randy do the rapid
Yeah.
fire. That would be so much fun.
Yeah.
But I think for both of us, there was a lot of different emotions. I think we were both grateful that it was us,
Mhm.
because we
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
already friends,
Mhm.
and I have so much respect for him, and I feel that respect that he has for me. And I'm not saying it's been super easy, and I don't imagine he would say the same either, but I think it's just like there's something really special that we got to have that service, because most of the time the new pastor who's coming in is closing up their chapter at their
Exactly.
church.
Yeah.
So they're not
here.
they're not
Yeah.
here on the
Yeah.
other pastor's
Mhm.
last day.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's like super unique in the Methodist
Yeah,
world that,
extremely.
that we got to do it that
Mhm.
way. And it just really did feel like
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
those moments of
You know,
God.
that's gotta. I mean, would that be the first time that's happened here?
It probably.
It has to
We're
be.
both. We're
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, there was a literal passing of the mantle.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it. I'm so grateful for
Mhm.
that day. And I do have these moments like burned in my mind because the music,
the
was
music
so
was awesome.
glorious.
I mean,
Yeah.
people were just singing
Yeah.
with their whole, and we didn't have to wear masks. That was like
Yeah.
that
Right.
that brief
It was
moment.
that we were like,
Mhm.
we're okay.
Yeah,
and then, like,
yeah. And
then
months
it's just
later,
like-
it was like, oh,
which
we're
I'm
not as-
so glad for that,
Yeah, yeah.
because
Yeah.
that just we needed that day of just
Absolutely.
being totally celebratory, and so it was. It felt like a celebration of the
Mhm.
Coopers. It felt like a celebration of God and what God's doing, and
Mhm.
and hope for what's to come, and so
and
yeah.
y'all coming, like
Mhm.
it felt like, it really did feel like Lakeshore says, go be about the family business, which I think is their how they would say Matthew at the end of Matthew's gospel. Be about the family business, go and make disciples of all the nations. And it felt like family business,
Yeah.
in that
yeah.
service.
Oh, that's a
that,
good way to
that
say
the family was working how we were going to change our roles. Yeah.
And we're still
really
learning
cool.
it. We're still learning
Oh,
it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was such a beautiful day.
When he spoke for the first time, he just he was about to cry, and I was like, oh my
Oh,
gosh.
I had so many tears.
Yeah, I
The
know.
last couple weeks.
I felt that, and I was like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
I was back there. I was, doing the soundboard, and I was like, gosh, I cannot mess this up. I cannot mess this up. I was
You
like,
did
oh.
great.
Don't
I
turn
was
the
like,
don't turn the
oh,
mic
gosh.
off. Don't turn the mic off.
Don't turn the mic off.
You did a
Oh.
fantastic job.
Thank you.
And he got me I cry a lot, but I don't think I cried as much as I did than the week before. It was almost the scene in The Office where Michael wants to leave
Oh, yeah.
the day before his last day.
Oh, my gosh.
So he doesn't have
Yeah.
that moment.
Yeah.
And it
Uh-huh.
felt like Brother Randy the week before
Yeah.
had this moment because
Mhm.
he was telling us a story, and you might have been serving Kitten. I don't know if you were in. You might have still been in Kitten
I was
at
in
that
Kenton
time.
for several Sundays
Yeah.
this past spring. Yeah, so
Mhm.
So you might not have been there, but I remember
Probably
he
wasn't.
ended the sermon
Yeah.
with the story of people that had been put on a list of that have invested time in a person in the church, And I can't remember if it was, I think it was a laity person in a church that he had served, or maybe it was growing up. But at the end of his sermon, he said, "Will you put me on your list?" And then everyone just broke down.
Yeah.
Because he had and at the end, you can kind of tell the end of a sermon or just any speaking thing. You can tell that you're in the closing moments of something.
Plane is landing.
Yes, the plane is finally
Yeah.
landing.
Yeah.
And you could tell that's where we were going. And you could tell that even before he told it, like you could tell physically that he was preparing himself for the
For the end.
that he was hoping he wasn't going to cry. But that's just such a, I mean, good
That's
grief. It's
touching.
not just 12 years here.
It's
his whole life.
It's a whole life.
His whole
And
life.
especially for his call.
Yeah.
Because that man said when he was little, he knew.
Oh,
Yeah.
And he was affirmed in that, which is part of that process. But, it made everything. Everything was just so special.
Yeah.
The leaving, but knowing that he's, that he's not gone forever.
Yeah.
A relationship that you don't have to, when normally in an appointment transition, it's or I'm sure, I don't know this, but I'm sure it feels like a just complete separation.
Yeah.
With like no time to process. It's like boom, here it is, and there they go.
Yeah.
And this one felt like this, like we're in the, like we're still swimming together.
Yeah.
And everyone loves the way the process is moving. Like what is coming in, we love that. What is maybe going to the other end of the pool, and then coming back to where we are. All of it is just. I think we've all appreciated what a special,
it was awesome
what a
the way it
special
happened.
moment the past year has been, especially in the focal point of that moment. Because like transitional moments are so important in life.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
They're so important.
Well, and it's part of our faith too.
Yeah.
Like we're never supposed to stay stagnant.
Right.
Like we're always supposed to be growing. We're always supposed to be moving, transforming.
Yeah.
What did you ask about earlier in the rapid fire transportation? That's not. That's not what we're getting, but we do get transformation. That is something that we're always growing. We're always transforming, and I think it is because things move that's what makes them so special. And my like mantra verse is Isaiah 43:18-19 of, don't remember the former things. See, I'm doing a new thing. I'm going to make a river in the desert, a way in the wilderness. And I think this particular transition helped me understand that the new thing is always built in and out of the old thing. Like the old thing doesn't lose its value. It doesn't go away. It's the new thing is the transformation of the old thing that moves forward and grows. And so I've seen that in this transition process.
Yeah.
Which speaks to like the first sermon here, as the pastor.
I wasn't there for that. You know what? I was like,
were you
gosh
not?
dang it.
Where
I
were
was
you
not.
at?
I was in Clarksville.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I wish I was there.
Well, it just like speaks to like how the old and new are never separated. They're born in each other. When you gave the example of a nurse log, that's just it is so telling of just life that the old forms the new, but it's not that the old separates itself from the new, that it's the foundation. And it allows the new to become what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Any additional thoughts?
Man, I mean, this has been fun.
Yeah, I know.
This is,
We've been jazzed.
Yeah.
Jazzed up.
Yeah, I'm excited about what's ahead for us as a church. That we have seen a lot of change, and we just did our star words yesterday. What was your word?
Calling.
Calling,
Calling.
which is great.
That's a great word.
Especially in a year you're graduating
Yes.
and moving into.
Yeah.
And
I
you're
swear,
really
all them stars like fit like the person the most. Like whoever got one fit them the most. Like
God is cool like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know
That
Bryant's
is
pray.
so cool. I got pray last night. I watched Julia Roberts Eat, Pray, Love.
Perfect.
No,
I
I'm
think
just
you're gonna
kidding.
nail
I did
it.
not do that, but
Yeah.
I got contemplate, which I like because it's a bit of adding that moment of don't just act, but like be really reflective
Yeah.
and think about what you're doing.
yeah,
But anyway, I love the promise of a new year and kind of a refocusing. And so I am excited to see what God's going to do. My personal word that I chose for this year is unfold, and that came out of like looking at last year.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
this time last year, I had no idea
Yeah.
how everything was going to unfold. And
Can
so-
you for a second?
uh-huh.
Because the Star Words is more. Well, it's a receiving a word
Yep.
and then discerning what is that meaning for me, and it takes time to sometimes understand that, or it
Yeah.
can be an immediacy of immediately.
Or it might
understanding
just
the
be like,
word.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is it.
Yeah, but the choosing the word is different.
Mm-hmm.
What is your process
Okay, well,
in
that
choosing a word?
That started for me in 2018. I was at a Sabbath retreat, and this guy did a workshop called One Word, and he was like, it's just a kind of contemplative process of, meditating through Scripture, praying, and just seeing what jumps out at you. And so the first one that I chose was in 2018, and it was in that passage in Isaiah that I just mentioned. But I was reading a translation where the word was perceive. Can you not perceive it? See, I'm doing a new thing. Can you not perceive it? And the big crux for me, like I had a moment where that word literally jumped off the page. And for me, I was still kind of new in ministry, and I was like, I knew about the promise of this new thing, but I found myself trying to make the new thing happen. And that word perceive shifted my perspective because it helped me understand that my job is not to do the new thing. Like, I'm not going to force any new thing to happen. God is doing that. Perceiving is my job. And so that was the process that first time. And then every year after that, it was like holding space at the end of the year to be reflective and see, like, what does this new year, what kind of thing do I need to be focused on? And so every year since then, something has just happened where it showed me what needed to happen. This year for Unfold, it was in October, I started noticing that word. I would say it a lot. I'd be like, I just didn't expect that things would unfold this way. And and I noticed it in people's language, and I saw it in a lot of places. And I think the idea of Unfold for me this year is kind of like a rose, like it's in a tight bud until the petals unfold and it blooms, but you can't force that to happen.
Right.
It happens in its time, in its season, as it's supposed to happen. And so the word for me this year is going to be, kind of letting things happen in its time, allowing life to unfold the way it needs to in its season, in its time. So I guess it's really another word for trust or patience or but unfold. But so that's my process, and I don't think there's
Which
a wrong.
is very organic.
Yeah, there's not a wrong way to do
Yeah.
it. It's just, to me, it's a listening, to trying to just listen to what God's, so much of God's movement in our lives, we can just walk right past it and not notice it. And so I think any kind of discipline of just paying attention to what God's doing, and the word helps me to pay attention a little bit more. Picking the word helps me pay attention.
Will
so.
you accept this rose?
Yeah. Oh my.
Oh, it depends. Oh, that's good.
Shout out Bachelor Nation.
Yeah, Bachelor Nation. Well,
So-
we wanna thank you for coming on
Absolutely.
the episode. This was a blast. This was
Yeah.
legit awesome.
Thank you.
Next week, oh man, this will be fun.
We're gonna have a good time.
We're gonna have a good time next week. We got family business coming in, not Bryant's family, but my family.
Yeah.
My little brother Cody Hamilton is gonna be on the podcast. Oh man,
I'm excited about
that'll be something. Hopefully there's not a fight midway
I was
through
gonna
that.
say I might.
Hopefully
I
there's.
got me a mediator.
You might have to be like a ref or something. Oh man, yeah. Anyways, I'm Kadin.
And I'm Bryant.
I'm Pack.
Yeah.
I'm
Pack.
I'm Spikester.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for listening to the conversation from the table. Thanks for listening, friends. Bye.